Welcome to episode 40 of the Hike or Die Outdoor Adventure podcast. Craig, the big 40, mate. Can you believe it?
40 sounds good to me.
Our little baby has just turned 40. I can't believe it. So cute. Anyway, let's play the music, mate. Thank you, as always, to our regular podcast sponsors for their support. Topo Maps Plus, a phone application that allows you to view topographical maps and track your location even without cell phone coverage. Go deeper into the backcountry. Rios floating polarized sunglasses with 100% UV protection for the love of water. Bluey Merino, Australian superfine merino wool base, mid and top layer garments. Where our story ends, yours is just beginning. Caribee, one of Australia's leading backpack, travel and outdoor brands. They supply us with dry bags, waterproof day packs and expedition bags. Supporting our sponsors allows us to continue to produce this podcast, so please jump online and check out what they have to offer. We'd like to begin by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land from which we broadcast today, and pay our respects to their elders past and present. We extend that respect to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander listeners. Craig, how are you, mate? What's going on?
G'day, Tom. Well, good, mate. I'm having a good day. It's great to be here with you doing this shit again.
Yeah, it's
Can we start again? I'm sorry, man.
No, you can't. This is locked in. There is no... Craig's been...
bloopers?
Drinking a lot. I think. I don't know.
We talked over each other. I thought we were going to stop. I don't know.
No, it's all good.
We were just
man.
at the beginning.
You always talk over me.
We don't stop in the middle, but this is at the start.
No,
surely.
It's a illegal move.
Oh.
So you got to live with that error.
Yeah, I'm doing good.
That's good. Good.
Can't you tell?
What is in that drink of yours? This suspect.
There's nothing in that drink.
Boy, oh boy, has a lot happened since we last recorded. What a roller coaster, mate.
It has. Yep, absolutely.
I don't even know where to start. Well, I guess I'm just going to briefly touch on it, and then I'll go into the normal stuff. What do you reckon about that?
Yeah, tell us what's been happening.
Well, I do want to say that if you listen to the last... What am I talking about? Of course you listen to the last episode. When you listen to the last episode, we... It's so bad. We at length spoke about how smart we were and for not going on that hike, right?
We gave ourselves big props for
that. We gave ourselves big props for... knowing when to say it's too dangerous and unsafe, and we made the call.
It's okay to say
not
no.
to go on the hike. It's fine, you know. But about 6 hours after we recorded the podcast, we got it. I can't even say it.
We
got in the car and went anyway.
Stopped recording and started packing the cars.
Anything that we said that you thought, wow, those guys are so responsible and mature, is now all gone. Zero respect for us.
Yeah.
So I laugh about it, and I mean we'll go into a lot more detail about it because my goodness, it was a heck of an adventure. I had a really good time. But I'll do that later. That's just a little teaser for you. So yeah, that's what we've been up to, doing stupid things. The stickers, thanks so much to everyone who's still buying stickers. I'm sending them far and wide across the whole globe, to be honest. And something I've unlocked, because you have to buy the stickers through Ko-fi. Links are everywhere you can possibly imagine. I noticed that I can unlock kind of membership privileges. So if you do buy a sticker, that's also seen as a donation and you get to see behind the scenes. So
All right.
previously we've had locked content in there that you'll now be able to see, if you buy a sticker. And we'll probably try and add to that in the near future, I would think. So there's more work for us, Craig.
Yeah, that's good. That's good, mate. That's good.
Something else. So thanks again to everyone also who's jumping on the Facebook group, not to be confused with the Facebook page. That group's really starting to grow and lots of people are jumping in there and there's some good conversations going. Mostly it's about coffee, but hey, that's fine by me. That is the Hodcast Facebook group. And again, if you jump on, for example, if you jump on Instagram and go to our bio, there's a little link in there, and one of those links will get you straight to that page. I suggest you jump on, because the next thing I'm going to say is Craig and I are talking about doing another live stream podcast. If you remember the original train wreck that we did.
We love a logistical challenge, right?
We do, yeah. Nothing like a bit of technical stuff thrown in and trying to work across like 15 time zones or something.
It should be fun.
Yeah, so we did that and we couldn't get video to work. It was a real struggle. We were doing it through the YouTube platform. We ended up, it was a fantastic podcast. We had a great laugh. And Josh, one of our listeners and who's also been a guest on the podcast, jumped on the Facebook group and said, hey, when are you doing another live stream? And coincidentally, I'd been thinking about it since we set up the group, because the group allows us to very easily do a stream straight through the Facebook page. So,
but it'll be all Josh's fault if it becomes a mess, right?
Yeah, it's 100% his fault if it goes pear-shaped this time.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah,
sounds
so
good.
we're just working out the logistics of that at the moment, and basically we're just trying to work out a time that...
I think we'll do it soon.
I think we'll be doing it real soon. We've got a few other things. Well, there's even things I haven't told you, Craig. Conversations I've had with particular very interesting guests, and I'm just in the process of having those conversations at the moment. I'm not sure how they will push around our immediate plans, but yeah, in the coming weeks, I've got a very, very interesting guest. Awesome story coming up. So I just need to lock that down. The listeners, you guys, and Craig have no idea what I'm talking about, but I'll secretly tell him after the podcast, but I'm not going to secretly tell you.
Jeez, I'm in suspense too, mate.
Yeah, you got to wait, 3 hours before I tell you.
Let's speed this thing up. Come on, get going.
The last thing I've got to say is on the drive here, I was talking to a good friend of the podcast, Robin.
That was so wild because you brought the call in here, right?
I did, yeah. So I pulled up here and I was still talking to Robin from Sweden on a video call, and I walked into Craig's studio and said, hey, Craig, come meet Robin.
Yeah.
Because I was speaking to Robin about various things, but also about the pronunciation of the kukafe, because he picked me up on my pronunciation. Well, I was kind of guessing it last time because it was just in a written form. And he said, I think they pronounce instead of ko, it's ku. And sure enough, he sent me a video. Well, actually, the video's in the Hodcast group. And yeah, we did a bit more research, and yeah, sure enough, the pronunciation is kukafe. There's a real emphasis on the ku. If you don't know what I'm talking about, it's cowboy coffee, Swedish style.
Right.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
Craig doesn't, but
I
that's okay.
I still haven't tried it. I haven't tried it yet.
No, you've witnessed it.
Yeah, I still haven't tried it.
I want
to get that coffee stuck in my teeth.
There is no coffee.
I know. That's the
Gets
whole.
stuck in your teeth.
That's the whole
Boom.
thing.
Get a knuckle sandwich stuck in your teeth. Talking like that about my cowboy coffee.
No, it sounds good.
I'll tell you something exciting that's coming up. Again,
Yep.
the advice and information that our listeners give us is second to none. Josh reminded us well in advance, so that we have no excuse that summer solstice is coming up on June the 21st.
Yeah, right.
Coincides exactly
I know.
with World Naked Hiking Day.
Nude hiking day.
Yeah. And
so
he
we can't
said
just
you
go,
have-
we accidentally missed that
remember,
again.
that's what happened last year.
Oh, we missed it.
Last year I saw an article about it, and it had just happened, and then we talked about it
Where are you going with this,
afterwards.
mate? Where are you going
Well,
with this?
he suggested, and I'm just putting it out there to everyone listening.
Oh, okay.
He suggested a kind of a, Austin Powers style kind of scene. Have you seen the scene with the fruit bowl?
Yeah.
Yeah. He said he could just see
Right.
us doing some kind of a hiking video like that with, carefully placed, I don't know, sausages cooking over a fire or something, and various items like So anyway, I've put a lot of thought into it, Craig, and I agree wholeheartedly, and I've signed you up for that.
You're in.
Yeah.
I'm in too, right?
Yeah, if I'm in, you're in.
I thought the freezing cold swim in Tassie might be coming out. The videos.
Oh no,
The lost videos.
The lost videos of Tasmania. They're not so lost. They're in a good. That's 3/4 edited. That video.
Oh, jeez.
I was burnt out. I've spoken to this earlier in another episode. I was just burnt out from editing, but I'm getting my mojo back, and that's why you're starting to see bits and pieces pop up on Instagram of late. Oh, speaking of which, how's that worm? Did you see I posted that?
Yeah, that was amazing.
Oh, man, yes, that has got so much traffic and comments from like people that have followed us for ages.
Okay, yeah, right.
Like if you look at you sort of weigh up the comments and the interaction, that thing's going off. Like people are just their minds blown.
Right.
Some of the comments.
Have you ever seen a giant earthworm like that before?
No, not like that. No way.
Yeah, I've collected one once, probably last year. But it was not as long. It was only half that long, but it was a giant fat worm. Like it looked like a small snake or something, but it was a worm. Yeah, they're pretty incredible.
Oh yeah, that was crazy. It was really cool though. No, that was great. Anyway, so people are loving that, and I chucked a picture up of Skippy the hiking dog as well.
Yeah,
so,
sure. That was awesome.
Obviously, you put a dog picture up and it gets heaps of clicks. So I'll probably just do heaps of dog pictures now.
As you would.
Our Instagram will take off. Giant worms and dogs. Dogs with giant worms on them. Dogs eating giant worms. Just anything.
Recipe for
to
success.
be with. I think I'll change the name of our Instagram to Dogs and Giant Worms.
More interesting we've ever had.
Yes, exactly
Don't you
right.
reckon?
No one cares. There's us hiking up an epic mountain in the snow, and people click on the dog picture. So if I can combine the two, then we're really onto something.
Got it. Yeah.
Dogsandworms.com. Cool. Yeah. So look out for that new Instagram page.
Sure.
Oh, Craig, this article here, I love it so much that I just love it. That I could just do a whole podcast on this one article. This is so cool. It only popped up today, so what perfect timing. You're going to laugh. The 17 worst hiking partners in the world. It kind of puts them it labels them, Gives them a label.
Right.
And they're really short and sharp, but I've definitely hiked with some of these. Some of these are you, and I probably have to concede that there might be one or two of these of me as well.
Right. It's my many personalities. That's it.
Yeah, and then
Right.
I think collectively we've both definitely hiked with these types of people at some point.
Yeah.
And I thought it'd be funny. Well, we'll get to that later. I thought it'd be funny to maybe list a few more that they don't have in the list, because I think I've got a few more. Anyway, this is so good that I do want to jump into it in a bit of detail. So, the slacker, the most exasperating companion, hands down. He or she will find any excuse to shirk camp chores, including, but certainly not limited to, setting up, taking down the tent, hanging food, getting water, gathering firewood, cooking, washing dishes.
Everything.
Definitely. That's not you, by the way.
Okay.
That one's not directed at you
I wasn't sure.
whatsoever. And it says don't be this person. I agree. Man, don't do that. I don't really think I've ever hiked with anyone like that, to be honest. When I take my dad on canoe trips, yeah, he just kind of sits there and watches it all go by, but I probably owe him that much.
He takes it in, mate.
He
just chills out.
Well, this just happens by magic.
Yeah. Yeah.
The next one, Craig, tell me if you know who this is.
Okay.
The foghorn.
I can imagine, but I'm not sure.
If you're prone to snoring,
Oh, God.
pack plenty of nasal strips and be sure to clue your teammates in before the trip so they can bring earplugs. Failure to do so could result in you sleeping outside by force.
I confess. That might be me.
The funny thing is, almost every time I wake you up, and I think it's a combination of being half asleep, almost every time I've woken you up and gone, Craig, what? You snoring? Was I? Are you sure? I'm like, dude, what are you talking about? You think I'm making this up? I'm the one that's been laying here for 10 minutes awake. Yeah, anyway, I've been caught out as well. I remember when I did the overland track the second time, I did it with the tour group when I was filming, and so we had a roommate. Two people would share one room, and you have 6 nights together or something like that. And so we made a pact. We would stay. We had the same roommate every night, and between us, we made a pact. If one of us is snoring, no matter what, you do not feel guilty about waking him up and say, "Hey, buddy, can you roll over and just move?" Like, don't even hesitate. Don't lay there for 2 hours and then tell me in the morning. Just tell me. And so we had this pact, and excuse me, every night I'd be like, "Hey, Dave. Yeah. I'm like, Dave, you're just snoring, mate. Oh, okay, sorry, buddy." And he'd roll over, no dramas. And it was almost like the last night or second last night. So I was just gradually getting more and more tired throughout the trip, and just I'd be one of the first ones up in the morning, getting all my camera gear ready, and then I'd be one of the last ones to sleep, recharging batteries and changing SD cards. And anyway, it was probably like the second last night, and I'm sleeping away, and I hear this Dave's voice going, Tom, oh, what's up? He goes, you were snoring. I went, oh my gosh, sorry, buddy. So
impossible.
No, it's happened. I've woken myself up before.
Yeah.
Anyway, now on that point, I don't think I could ever wear earplugs on a hike. It just doesn't sit well with me. I don't think I'd be comfortable sleeping in the wilderness.
Yeah.
With earplugs in.
It's supposed to be one of our pleasure times, right? Where you're enjoying the
there's that.
outdoors.
There's definitely that. That's a huge part of it. That's like saying hike all that way into the wilderness and put on noise cancelling headphones and something over your eyes.
Yeah.
it defeats the purpose. But also, I just think from a safety perspective, if you're camped next to a river or something and the water's rising or whatever, or there's some possum tearing shreds off your pack right underneath you and you can't hear it because you're sleeping away. Wake up in the morning and there's just bits of fluff all over the whole campsite and you go, oh, but I had a good sleep. I feel refreshed to deal with this. I didn't have to listen to Craig.
That's right.
So yeah, I'm not sure I'm comfortable with that. But if I was in a dormitory kind of thing, I'd probably consider it. Moving on, the moocher. This is the sort of person who, let's take a bit of your food. I can have half of that chocolate bar. Before you know it, those snacks you carefully packed and rationed for yourself are nearly gone thanks to the person who didn't bring enough and always wants to borrow yours. Before setting out, make it clear to your group that everyone has to look after their own food.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good rule.
It happens to my whiskey all the time, right?
Does it? Well, but that's because you forget that you drink it.
No, it's good.
Tom, you're just drinking whiskey. I don't drink your whiskey.
No.
Oh, must have been me. The Jeremy chef. It's awfully nice of this person to cook for the entire group, but for the love of hygiene, sanitize your hands before handling food.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another good tip, actually. They say a pro tip for keeping germs at bay is pour servings of any communal foods, such as trail mix, into individual hands rather than everyone reaching into the bag.
Sure. Yep.
That just brings back thoughts of the peanuts on the bar at the pub.
Yeah. The days before COVID.
The days before COVID, yeah. That's right.
Oh, jeez.
The rearranger. Sometimes gear is where it is for a reason. Moving stuff that isn't yours is a great way to irritate your campmates. That's the dude that kind of, you go for a wander down the stream to take some photos and he's like, oh, what's your backpack doing there? I'll move it over.
Yeah, good.
I mean, neither of us do that, but it would irritate me. Here's one that I probably am guilty of, Craig. The thrasher. Getting comfortable in a sleeping bag can be tough.
Mm-hmm.
Do I sleep on my stomach, my side? What do I do with my hands? But if you're up half the night tossing and turning, you're definitely doing it wrong. Pick a position and stick with it.
Righto.
Related is kneeing and kicking when getting in and out of a two-person tent. Thankfully, we have our own accommodations, but
we don't have to share a sleeping
bag.
But
I do know, like on that trip the other week, I was making so much noise in the hammock because I had it. I think I had it. I had the ridgeline too tight, so I wasn't able to sleep as flat as I should have.
Yeah. Even
asymmetrically. So it was really irritating me, and I must have woke up 15 times in the night, which is unusual. And I know I was tossing around a lot.
But you do wake up through the night quite a bit. I've noticed compared to me. Like I can sleep through anything, as you know. And
yeah, I definitely do wake up a lot more than a normal person.
Maybe because I'm snoring the hell out of it.
Yeah.
Maybe that. Bit of both.
Yeah, maybe something to do with that. No, you don't always snore. Definitely not always.
Oh, good. I really thought.
No, it's not always. I can't remember hearing you on the last trip, but then it was absolutely pouring with rain. I couldn't hear myself think. Next up is the worrywart. Oh, this article, by the way, is backpacker.com. It's quite a good one. A bit of tongue in cheek. This is good fun. So I'll put the link in the show notes. The worrywart, after they crawl over you for the umpteenth time to make sure the fire is out, they'll start searching through every pocket in their pack because they're terrified they forgot their car keys. Once they start wondering whether they've remembered to turn the stove off at home, you're really in for it.
Yeah.
And there's varying levels of that. The perfectionist. You finally made it to your camp spot for the night, but now your partner can't stop micromanaging and nitpicking, whether it's the slope of the rainfly or the rockiness of the ground. Sometimes perfect really is the enemy of good. I think I've definitely hiked with one of them before.
Yeah, me too, mate.
Which it takes like them an hour to choose their spot, and they keep changing. Oh, no, I'm going to do it here. Are you going there? Yep, yeah, well, I'll go here. Wherever you want me to. Yeah, okay, I'll go here. All right, then I'll go over here. And 10 minutes later, oh, this is no good. This is no good. Like, I can't hang my hammock properly. Well, do you want my spot? Yeah, okay, I'll swap you. I don't care. Like, I don't care. It drives me crazy, man. Just.
Yeah, you can definitely be a bit of a perfectionist if you're not careful about it.
The Space Hog. It's not some epic sci-fi movie like one might think. Everybody loves a good cuddle, right? Wrong. Stay on your side, compadre.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, that's if you're hiking with cowboys or Spanish people, I think. The in-house snacker. When you're crammed in a tent with a perpetual muncher, things can get stressful. Not only will your tent buddies eating disrupt your beauty sleep, but those peanut M&Ms they just pulled out of their pocket. Yeah, bears love those. Unless it's the dead of winter, keep your food out of the tent at all costs.
Yeah.
That's much more directed at our friends in the US, but I think I'd be horrified if someone whipped a snack out of their pocket and I was sleeping in the States.
Yeah, right.
Or Canada, or anywhere up there. If you whipped out like a granola bar, I'd kick you out of the tent so fast and just zip it up and not let you back in.
Yeah, bait for the large animals.
Yeah, that's right. The nightlight, no matter how badly you need to get up and dig out your lip balm, turning your headlamp on inside the tent in the middle of the night is never cool. I've experienced that in like huts. So when I've had to sleep in huts,
yeah, right.
And people will get up in the night, or they go to bed later than everybody else. So everyone, 90% of people get an early night, right, at those huts.
Yeah.
Because it's a massive, usually you're 3-4 days in and you're pretty tired. But then you get these people that stay up late and then they come into the dorms and they're flashing the damn torch around for like 15, 20 minutes. And that's when they decide to set up their bed and inflate their mattress and, you know, the sound of that synthetic sleeping bags against, oh my gosh, drives me crazy.
It's always one.
Here's one I don't think I've experienced, but it would drive me crazy, is the tailgater. We hate it on the highway, and it can be just as stressful on the trail. Leave a few paces worth of distance between you and the person ahead. The hike will be more relaxing for both of you.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever had a tailgater?
I'd say so.
You
Yeah.
think so?
Except
it's not me though, is it?
I think we typically move at pace.
We move at pace, but we don't move like I'm not stepping on the heels of your boots.
Oh no,
that's what they're talking about. Yeah, that's what they're talking about is being right up in someone's grill.
No,
not
these days.
I think I'd have something to say if someone was walking behind me that closely.
Yeah.
The doorstop. There's definitely a good side of the tent, and it's the door side. This one's just kind of a polite one. Offer to switch with your tent mates each night as to not hog the prime access spot. That's fair enough. That definitely comes down to... I mean, a lot of these things are talking about people sharing the one tent, which is kind of interesting, isn't it? Like, it doesn't... We have shared a tent before when we do that canoe trip. And we've shared a tent usually on... like the day before we hike. If we drive somewhere, we would used to just jump in the tent and crash, and then the next morning throw the tent in the car and grab our packs and go. But we never really do it on the trail. It's like, it's almost like we like our own space once we get out there, isn't it?
Yeah. We shared a tent that night. I think you also brought snacks into the tent and a rodent got in, chewed through the tent.
100% happened.
Yeah.
I had snacks.
That was before
I
you knew
did
better.
what did they call me? What was the name of that one?
At least there was no bears around.
What am I? Would they have a name for that?
Yeah.
Oh, the in-house snacker. That was me. Well, I didn't actually snack in there. I just coincidentally
You brought something in.
I had some biscuits that I stole from my kids. It's the ones that go in their lunchbox.
Yeah. And I didn't believe you the next day. You said something was scratching around, and I thought, yeah, righto. But
what happened was in the middle of the night, it kept scratching right near my face, and I kept banging the tent, thinking that this thing was trying to scratch in through the tent wall.
Yeah, right.
And then after about an hour of this, was driving me crazy. So I turned the torch on, headlamp on, to see what's going on. And it was inside the tent next to my face, eating the biscuits. That was the noise. And then when I tried to hit it, it ran down to my feet and out through this giant hole, which is like half the size of, like if you put your thumb and forefinger together, and make a circle, that was the size of the hole, like a mouse size
golf ball. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, like a golf ball size hole, gone. So I shoved some shirt or something in there, and then we slept peacefully for the rest of the night. But that thing.
I slept through that whole thing. I remember that.
Yeah, well, that's why you're saying, I remember you told me in the morning. Yeah, that's because you weren't having it wasn't a mouse, it was one of those bush rat things. It was pretty big.
Yeah.
But geez, wow. Lucky that wasn't a full-size bear or something.
Yeah, totally.
I would have got us all killed.
Those were the days, mate. We don't do that anymore, do we?
We're not that stupid.
No.
I do not do that. The soloist, all for one for all, is an alien concept to this person who seems to do every task in single servings. Filtering enough water just for one bottle, cleaning one dish, preparing one egg. Not going to win a lot of friends that way. I've hiked with someone like that. I have. It's not you again. It's weird. It's just weird.
Righto.
It's weird.
Self-sufficient.
So you're boiling some water there for your coffee. Like, maybe I could have the other 400 mils that you're not using. No, that's for cleaning up afterwards. Oh, right. Okay. I'll just get my own stove out, and it's just weird. I don't know. You and I often make coffee simultaneously, but then other times we're quite happy to just say, hey, we'll just boil one pot and share it.
Totally. Yeah, it depends what mood you're in.
Yeah. The slob. You've only been in camp 2 hours, but it already looks like a tornado roared through. Try and gently point out to your companion that gear is harder to keep track of, and thus easier to lose when it's tossed around helter-skelter. I've been with people that just kind of do that. Like, they almost empty the entire contents of their pack across the campsite.
Yeah.
To get at other things, and it's not cool.
Yeah, I remember when we started thinking, let's take some images around camp, and you realise how much you do just make a mess if you're not careful.
That's a really good point.
You know,
I remember early photographs. You look at you get home thinking, I got a great shot of the campsite, and you get home and there's your underwear hanging off the guy line of your tent, and there's just stuff all over the ground, and you haven't cleaned up after dinner yet, and there's some packets in a garbage bag, and
now we're very accommodating.
We're completely different now. The pyro, this one's pretty funny. The person single-mindedly obsessed with starting the fire, tending to the fire, lighting more things on fire, and well, that's about that.
Yeah.
Easy there, Smokey, they say.
Yeah.
We don't really have that so much here because we don't really do that many fires. Or the party fouler. This one, you wouldn't like this person, Craig. The person that kicks over the flask.
Ooh.
It says here, you've got some serious making up to do now, pal.
Yeah, time to go home, mate.
Have you got any more you can think of, Craig? I've got two.
I've got one that's the loud music at the
Oh
at the
my
campsite.
Gosh, that's a great one. Yes,
someone who's intent on
polluting
the
we've both done that one.
noise pollution.
No, not done as in like we don't do the music, but we've both been hiking with that person.
Oh, it's been it's been an option at times for me too, but yeah, it can be a bit dominant
when there's no conversations about what goes on the music either, what type of music goes on. No, I can't do it. Can't do it. That's not a good one. That should be in there though, 100%. I should write at the comment on this article and say,
yeah,
you forgot the what could I call him? The disco.
The ghetto blaster.
The disco dude.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Okay, I'll tell you one. I kind of is slightly related to the slob, but no, I guess it's not really. The person who completely, the repacker. So in the morning, they completely pull everything out of their pack and basically start again.
Yeah.
So you're sitting there for an hour.
Yeah.
Just sitting there. I'm not even exaggerating when I once sat for an hour waiting for someone and
that can be a perfectionist as well.
Yeah, it could border into that as well.
Yeah.
What about the, I'll call this one the proximity pooper. What about the guy who, and I've unfortunately experienced this one, the guy who grabs the toilet roll and says, "Oh, I'm off." And yeah, no worries, mate. No worries. I'll just keep packing up in the morning, whatever it is. No worries. And then they don't quite go far enough away.
Yeah, right.
To the point where it's, if you really kind of looked, you'd just see him there and be able to wave at him.
Right.
Or maybe you can't see him because of the terrain. But I specifically remember that this is not fun. It's not a fun story. I was eating my breakfast, and this actually happened. Oh yeah, see you, mate. Off he goes. And then before he got back, I already knew about it. I just copped the smell wafted through the campsite while I'm eating my breakfast. And I just went, "Oh my goodness, mate! What the heck? Like, that's got to be the worst thing ever."
That should be on that list.
It should be on that list. And I thought the name was pretty cool too. Tell us, have you got any more than the proximity pooper, the discotheque boy, and what was the other one I said? The repacker.
Yeah.
Anyway, I thought that was a pretty cool article. And it was listed under their beginner kind of section in their blog. And I thought, that's actually a pretty good thing to teach beginners.
A guide.
Don't do any of these things if you want to have friends who like hiking with you.
Etiquette.
Very good. This one's this is quite a long article. This is one of those almost like you're never too old sort of thing to chip away at things. There's something I'd never heard of, which is it's called, let me just get it. Well, this article's called How Louise Fairfax Overcame Grief to Become the Third Woman to Climb All of Tasmania's Ables. Now, to be honest, I didn't think that the article explained very well at all what the Ables were. So I had to go and Google it. The Ables are a very long mountain range, or like it's a connecting mountain range through Tasmania, and they incorporate many, many peaks.
Right.
So somebody who's an abler, they call them, is basically a peak bagger of those mountains collectively in that region.
Right.
I think it's called the Able Range or something like that. I've probably got that wrong. That's the only one thing I didn't write in my notes. Anyway, her story's very interesting, and it's not so much about. So she had her hiking partner was her husband, I believe, and he had Parkinson's disease, and they continued to hike together, and even to the point where his doctor was saying, yeah, like, just make sure you don't do anything strenuous. And he said, oh, I don't care, I'm out. My days are numbered. So he kept smashing them out.
Mm-hmm.
And she continued even after he passed away. And he actually went missing, which is very, very odd. It's a story in itself, I think. He went missing in 2017 when they were out for a walk in a forest. He was about 150 meters behind her. Oh, it's very odd, isn't it? That's crazy. He was about 150 meters behind her, and they smiled and waved at each other as he walked slowly and ate an apple. And after the walk, she never saw her husband again, and his body was never recovered.
No way.
Yeah, I guess he just got lost, or, there's not really any explanation. There was a huge search effort by the State Emergency Service. Former students, teachers, members of various walking clubs. Yeah, and she says here, he was her soulmate, and she'd done all of this hiking with him. And she goes on to basically get back into her. So just to have a guess how many mountains, to say that you've completed the Ables, have a guess how many mountains you need to have gone to the peak of.
Jeez. Mate, I don't know. They'd be like...
Give me a range. Just give me a range.
Let's say 20.
I'd say when I was reading this article, I was thinking somewhere around a dozen to 20. And then I Googled the list, and there is 158.
Jeez.
So 158 peaks that make up these ranges, and but people just basically just tick them off. And you know what? You and I have done one, so we've only got 157 to go.
Oh, right.
We did Mount Ossa. Mount Ossa is the first one on the list.
Okay.
And we walked past many others on that hike. Many others. We walked past about another 15 over those 6 days.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So all the ones when we were going through valleys and you look up to the left and right,
yeah,
every one of those peaks is on this list.
Yeah.
So where we turn right to go to Ossa?
Yep.
Well, Pelion is
left.
on the other side.
Yeah.
That's one of them. Remember the lake we swam at?
Yeah.
In the background was Barn Bluff.
Yeah.
That's one of them. Remember the Cradle Mountain hut, and we didn't do Cradle Mountain?
Yeah.
That's one of them.
Yeah.
So yeah, pretty epic. Anyway, she completed every single peak, 158 peaks, which is just mind blowing. And she struggled to after her husband disappeared, she struggled to find someone who was, I think as she puts it, what did she say? It's hard to find people who want to do something horrific like that. So yeah, there's photos of her and her talking about going across ice sections and quite literally places where if you fall, you die. And she said when she got to the last peak, now the last peak was the Federation Peak.
Yeah, right.
Which, if you remember correctly,
I do.
Federation Peak is what Sir Edmund Hillary said was the only real mountain in Australia, like the only true mountain, the one that was serious. And she did that one last. Also, if you remember correctly, I'm pretty sure that's the one that Andy Slozzy, one of our guests, did in that documentary that he was in.
Yeah, I've been thinking of him the whole time you've been telling this story. He'd be all over that.
Yeah, so he did Federation Peak, and I remember from that film, it was scary stuff.
Yeah, totally.
Like really scary stuff. So she did that last, which is kind of like Tom Fabry doing the Seven Summits, and he did like leaving Everest till last.
Yeah.
You almost feel like, I think with some of those things I'd prefer to go, right, tell me which is the hardest. That one. Okay, let's get that one done. Because if I can get that done, everything else should be pretty easy.
I haven't missed something. Tom's still training for that. He hasn't gone up, has he?
No, he hasn't gone up. No,
Yeah,
still.
right.
I would assume that
We'd know about
COVID has had a big impact in travel and all those sorts of things. So, but now that things like borders and everything and travel's opening up, I can probably see he still looks fit as a fiddle, and he's training hard all the time. So I could see him making some progress on that in the very near future.
That's incredible.
Yeah, mate. So if you want to, as I said, it's not like we're starting from scratch. We've done a peak already.
Right.
There's only 157 to go. And
we'll fit that in on our
I
weekends.
reckon we could just kind of knock a few of those over every now and then.
No, it's a big effort.
That's huge, eh? Pretty cool.
Yeah.
I saw this. I actually started doing a bit of research on, because of our, which we'll get into later, our situation in the rain. You know, I went through 4 rain jackets on that trip.
Yeah.
The fourth one didn't get saturated, but the first 3 did over the course of those couple of 3 days or something.
Yeah.
Purely from they got completely saturated. It's called wet out. Like if fabric gets wet out, it's completely saturated, which is why you get those situations where you're getting rained on and you think, God, I feel like I'm actually wet underneath, and you check your shirt underneath or your arms is wet, because the idea of rainwear is not that it like it's not meant to soak up water, because any fabric that soaks up water will eventually let water through. It's meant to repel it, like water off a duck's back, for example. And when you do buy garments brand new and they've never been washed and they're straight from the manufacturer, you'll see that how well they repel water. And over the years, you just kind of get complacent. And it's not until I noticed it a bit because I wore the same jacket on the last Tasmania trip, and I did notice I was getting a bit of, and we weren't even in rain, we were just in sleet, but I was getting a bit of water come through.
Yeah, okay.
I started to notice it. So it's the complete saturation of fabric. But I found a really cool video from this YouTube channel called My Life Outdoors. I've never seen any of his videos, but boy, he did a really good job of explaining it, and also explaining how to remedy it. And also he showed the same jacket, like one of his jackets that was older and was wet out. And then he is basically this this stuff that you can wash it in, and it revitalizes the fabric.
Okay.
And then he puts it on, and then he must have a hose or something on him, and you can see that it just rolls off, so it never actually gets a chance to accumulate.
Okay.
But yeah, on that trip, so I had, the jacket I was just wearing around on the first day got completely saturated.
Mate, I gave up trying to be dry.
I
Completely.
just kept pulling out 75 jackets out.
I gave in, yeah.
Back of my car, but and then I knew that the second jacket I wore, I knew that was going to wet out because I didn't have time to. It's not even meant to be water repellent. You have to wax it.
Oh, okay.
My Fjallraven jacket actually has to be
wasn't
physically waxed, and then I didn't get time to do it, like all the shoulders and everything properly. So it was only a matter of time before that happened. But anyway, I'm going to put that video in the show notes because it's really cool, really simple fix, and I'm definitely going to purchase some of the stuff that he recommended.
No, I'm keen to see that because I imagine there's more to it than just, having a raincoat. I'm sure there's heaps of different, as you say, stages and how it lets water in.
Yeah, I think we just get complacent, and I try not to wash my rain jackets for that reason, but inevitably sometimes you sweat in them or you get them dirty and you have to throw them in the wash. And yeah, this stuff just simply goes in with the wash and comes out just like it did off the showroom floor. And yeah, so I'm definitely going to get some of that and get all my jackets back into shape. I'm kind of sick of getting wet after that trip.
Sure.
Anyway, he had lots of cool videos. I'm surprised I've never discovered his channel before, and he just presents really, really well and gets straight to the point. Completely the opposite of me, so that's good. This is a funny video, Craig, I found. It only goes for about 3 minutes, but it's a very short micro documentary on back in the 70s when this this aeroplane flew through Yosemite Valley. And there's a big climbing community there. And as you're probably aware, the climbers are kind of like living out of their vans and they don't have much money. And they're just kind of rat bags and whatnot, and just only spend enough money to buy food and so they can climb as much as they want.
Right.
So this aeroplane flies through the Yosemite Valley and crashes into the lake, right into the lake. But the lake's frozen, so it's kind of like sticking up. And on impact, it busts open. And the climbers were nearby. Oh, what the heck's going on? And they go and check it out. And it was a drug plane.
Yeah.
And these bags, you think about a big old school Hessian sack of, grain or, like a big, I'm talking a big bag. Just massive bags of cannabis.
Yeah, right.
Just everywhere.
Right.
And so he said in this documentary, there was guys that were actually there at the time getting interviewed, which is really cool. And there's photos of climbers and everything just with these bags. And they said that there was climbers there that were buying houses with the money, like guys that have never had money in their entire lives and can't scratch together 2 coins in their pocket, are buying houses and cars and new vans and climbing equipment, and just they all banded together and they were taking chainsaws down and cutting the ice to try and to get into the plane to get more and more and more. It
was their lucky day.
And and they said there was a really funny bit in it where they said that a lot of the cannabis had airplane fuel on it, And so it kind of had this weird taste, but it would also self-combust sometimes. So, but people kind of saw that as a novelty, so nobody, that didn't turn off anybody. They said like it would literally like self-combust and explode, and but people still bought it and didn't complain, and so it made people rich. It was just hilarious, just a funny little video I found, and I thought it was pretty cool. So yeah, I'll chuck that on there.
I don't know where you find this stuff, mate.
No, it's not like I spend my whole life on YouTube. It just must know me really well, the algorithm, and what it spits out. This is exactly what you need, Tom.
Yeah, we know what you want.
Speaking of knowing what I want, another YouTube channel I'd never ever heard of is called Canoe the North, and a video popped up just last week called Yukon Canoeing the Wild Nisutlan River. I don't know how to pronounce that. It's probably got an American twang to it, or rather a Canadian twang. No, Alaskan twang. Where's the Yukon? I should know this. Forget I asked that. Anyway, it's a really cool video, and these guys really know how to. They just put such a cool video together, and they're like a husband and wife team, and they take their 2 dogs, and they just canoe down these monstrous, massive rivers with cliffs and white-capped mountains either side, and just
sounds cool.
It's so opposite of where we live.
Yeah,
it's just that quintessential kind of canoe trip footage. Beautiful. And they really wrap it together. They do a nice little production job on it. It's really entertaining, and they're not short 10-minute clips either. This one, I think from memory, was something like 45, 50 minutes. So there's heaps of cool footage, and the guy does a lot of fly fishing, and catches a little trout and stuff, and they'll cook that up while they're canoeing down these rivers. And when I went and looked at the channel, there's a series of other videos which I haven't watched yet, but I'm really looking forward to checking the rest of those out, and just enjoying it. I mean, I basically sat down and watched it like it was a little documentary. It was really cool.
Another good find.
Really good. And like I said, it's not just that I found this one cool video. It's the fact that I know there's a few there, maybe even half a dozen to watch. So the video itself was a great find, but also the YouTube channel.
Yeah, right.
Now, before I get into our little adventure, a few episodes back I mentioned the trailer for 14 Peaks. It came out as a Netflix film.
Okay.
It was a Nepali mountaineer embarks on a seemingly impossible quest to summit all 14 of the world's 8,000-meter peaks in a 7-month period.
Oh, yep.
And I put the trailer on. I was pretty excited for it, and I'm going to annoy some people here. And
again, like you always do.
Yeah, just for the fun of it. No, not for the fun of it. I was thinking about this today when I was just checking my notes, and I thought it's got to be okay to say you don't like something like it, this format that we do. If not for us to give our honest opinion, then what are we here for?
Yeah, mate, go for it. Tell us what it is,
And I didn't like it.
Okay.
I did not like it, and I'll stand by that statement.
Too much snow?
It's just there's too many mountains in this. There was 14 mountains in
they
this.
over the top.
I mean,
they overdid it.
Yeah, I know it's called 14 peaks, but just do 5 or 6. I don't need to see 14 peaks.
I thought you were going to say that.
I've seen one peak. I've seen them all, mate.
Yes.
Oh my God, this is a White Mountains footage for like a whole hour and a half.
Fell asleep after 3.
Rubbish. No, it's not true. It's not true. Yes, there was 14 peaks in it. I didn't like it. I didn't like it was shot well and everything, but something didn't sit right with me about the challenge, and I don't know. I can't quite pinpoint it. I think it had something to do with his. It's going to sound horrible. His mother was sick at the time, and his purpose was to do this to basically, for the Nepalese people, right? To prove that, to show that Sherpas were capable of anything, and to inspire young people to do stuff and inspire the rest of the world to do amazing things. And I think he succeeded in that. But at the same time, gosh, I don't know what conversation I'd have with the guy if he was sitting in front of me. I'd feel horrible saying that I wasn't quite in on it. I didn't buy into it. Like his mother was sick, and she said, go and do this thing. It's important you do this thing. But, that was some quality time that he could have spent with her. I don't know. It's a tough one, man. There was things I didn't, it was just so focused on do this thing as quick as you can. And, it's, I guess kind of pushing the limits of danger as well, because to do that many peaks in that amount of time is...
Yeah, you couldn't understand why. It didn't quite...
I don't know, something didn't sit right with me.
Fair enough.
I'd say I'd have to watch it again to work it out, but I really don't think I could watch it again. Look, tell me what you think about it, guys. Jump in on the HikeordieTV Facebook group, because I'd be interested to see what other people thought. Remember, the only other thing I've really gone off about on this podcast was a long time ago when I read the book of, what's it called? Was it Rock in a Hard Place or something?
Oh, sure.
Remember that... the guy who got his... made the film out of it.
So many hours. The film was
72
called...
hours.
72 hours, yeah.
That was pretty much the only other thing that I've ever said. I just really didn't like it. I didn't like it. And because I said that on the podcast, I got some people write to me. A lady sent me an email and said, I'm so glad you said that, because... everyone was talking about this amazing book and this film, and she said, I read the book and I was just felt like it was
a bit reckless,
just this
wasn't it?
reckless, and this guy's ego for the entire book. And another person said to me as well, that book was just like someone's inflated ego.
Righto.
The whole time there's not even any acceptance whatsoever. Even at the end of the book, there was almost no acceptance of the outright kind of recklessness and stupidity involved, and how it could have endangered other people, and it's sending the wrong message out. That's why I've got such a problem with and we have talked about this before, the Chris McCandless, the Into the Wild film.
Yep.
Romanticizing a guy that's essentially a bit of a spoilt brat, and who just wants to get away from it. I don't have a problem with that, but he again was unprepared, didn't have the right equipment, didn't have the right training, went to this place and died, and people just only latch on to the parts that they want to latch onto of the story, and how it was amazing. He was trying to find himself, and so sad that he died. Absolutely sad that he died. I'm not going to argue that. But what's also sad is I think there was 3 other people died trying to go out to retrace his steps to get a photo at the bus.
That's right.
Because
copycats. Well, sort of.
Yeah, just
almost.
Trying to. Yeah. I want to go do retrace his steps, and they died in the river.
So there's a greater responsibility, you reckon, for some of these publications to sort of accept that they have people reading it, following it, watching
it. Yeah, I don't know. It's one of those things. You got to do that. We've spoken about this when we were sitting by the stream, we spoke about the dangers of people just listening to what you say and just not doing their own research, and because they've moved that bus now to like a museum or something. Yeah. They literally, the military went in and chained it and picked it up and flew it out to try and stop people dying visiting it. That's not going to stop people going to the location, but it'll definitely slow them down if they can just go get a selfie and drive there.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, a bit of a tough one, that. Yeah, didn't enjoy that. I sat down excited and I left unfulfilled. Craig, let us revisit the trip that was never meant to happen.
Yes, mate, I'm just drying out now. I'm honestly just drying out.
It took me a week and my car still stinks from the wet carpet. I had to leave the windows open for days and days.
Honestly, the whole experience of being out there in that much rain for that many hours and days and so forth, I learned a lot. I learned a lot about it, about the wet and how it gets everywhere, and it's a bit uncomfortable at times.
Boy, oh boy. A quick recap. As you would have heard in the last podcast, we sat down and went on and on and on, and basically a whole podcast we spent talking about how responsible we were. And then we sat here, we did a bit of editing, a bit of post-production, we were having a conversation, we had a bit of a snack, and then we were checking the weather on the national radar.
Yeah.
And what we noticed was we had cancelled the hike based on the weather where we are, which is about, an hour and a half, 2 hours from where the location was?
Yeah.
Hour and a half-ish. An hour and a half's drive, which is a considerable distance.
Yeah.
And what we noticed was the bottom of the storm cell was not hardly touching where we wanted to go. So we'd cancelled the trip based on the rainfall of where we were in the studio getting smashed to pieces by constant rain.
It looked like it might be in the clear down there.
Yeah, and I mean, technically it was. So we made an executive decision from roughly sort of 6 hours after we finished recording and said, there's no rain down there. And I checked their rainfall for that day and it was hardly anything. So they weren't getting the storm cell that we were down the southern end of it. So we decided to, my car was already packed sitting out the front of Craig's place. We decided to jump in the car and I guess just see how far we'd get. But we knew that we'd have to change things up. So instead of planning to sort of hike out into that wilderness at night, we'd found this little campground on the side of the river where we could stop. And I mean, what was pretty cool was we got to have pizza.
Yeah. Yeah.
So literally I left my meal at home in the fridge.
Yeah.
And we went and got pizza.
Yeah, that wasn't quite so roughing it, eh?
No, it wasn't roughing it. So we we had our swags with us and what time did we get down there? Like about 8 p.m. or something? Yeah, we got the pizza and then we drove back to the campground and ate it.
The shop was shutting at about 8, yeah.
Yeah, and that's right, it was shut at 8. We got that, we went down and ate pizza and then we threw our swags down in this little campground. With the idea that we would kind of assess it again in the morning, see if we thought it was still safe or we should head back home. And it rained a lot that night, right?
Yeah, it did.
It rained. It wasn't super duper heavy, but it just didn't stop. And the seams on my swag started to leak.
Yeah, you got wet. You got flooded, didn't you?
Yeah, one corner. It was just from that constant drip. And it just accumulated and it soaked the bottom of the mattress and it was dripping exactly in the middle of my body through the night, and it would wake me up. So I had to pull the sleeping bag over my waist so that it would drip on the sleeping bag and wet that instead of me, just so I could get some sleep.
Yeah.
So it got really, it was not fun. But it could have been a lot worse.
Yeah.
But how's that river? We were eating pizza and I said, that river sounds really kind of high and rough. And it was nighttime by this stage.
Yeah.
So we kind of walked down there and in the darkness we can see this raging torrent.
Yeah.
And it was the exact same river that supposedly upstream we were meant to cross it about 3 times on this hike.
Yeah.
And I said to Craig, I'm pretty sure we won't be doing that in the morning.
Yeah.
So when we saw it in the light of day, my gosh, it was roaring.
Yeah.
So we didn't do anything stupid like that. We decided that, well, first things first, we had to go get a coffee.
Yeah.
Again, not that we don't have coffee on the hike, but we got to cruise down to an actual cafe in town.
Yeah.
And discuss our options. That's when we decided that we would, I don't know, still keep plugging away and trying to get some outdoor time.
Yeah, but for a bit of context, as we were going, it was starting to unfold that Brisbane, where we live, was having serious flood damage. Houses were getting washed away.
Yeah, that stuff was televised around the world.
Yeah.
Because I got friends and listeners from around the world saying, are you guys sending us DMs saying,
yep,
I hope you guys are safe. And
it was just getting worse.
Yeah. So we're down there right just on the bottom edge of this storm cell. But then in the back of our heads, we were kind of thinking, well, it's not just about where we are now. It's about what's happening back home. And parts of, like we had phone reception down there, and Craig's saying, check this out. This is 2 suburbs away from my house, and these businesses are going under.
Totally.
And so, yeah, it was weird. It was just surreal because we weren't getting that much rain down there that it was really of any concern. But to think that back home, so I was kind of checking in with home, is everything okay? Yeah, we're all good. We're just, everything's cool. Because school had been shut down.
That's right.
Earlier that day. So all kids got sent home. Because the street that my kids' school in went under about a foot of water. So, yeah, it was a bit weird. And, yeah, anyway, we decided to go and check out this place called Binnaburra, which I'm sure many, many people are familiar with. It's, what would you say, the eastern side of Lamington National Park.
Yep.
And a beautiful place. Tons of rainforest.
Yeah.
And one of our goals, I guess, was to try and get some footage, and this is a bit of a side project Craig and I are working on, and to get some audio of rain in rainforest.
What better opportunity?
Exactly. So we were kind of
some microphones out in the rain.
In the rain. The most expensive microphone and cameras we have. Let's take them in one of the biggest storm cells of the last 10 years.
Why not?
And we kind of said, well, over coffee, we said we wanted to get this stuff in the rain, then if not now, when? Like, when are we going to...
Yeah.
We're just going to keep complaining that it's raining and we can't do it. So we decided to forge ahead. And, went up to this place. But even on the way up, there was like a couple of mini, like, boulders had come down on the road and smashed on the road.
Yeah, got to watch that.
Drove around a few.
Little rocks and little bits of landslides.
Yeah, landslides and stuff.
And we could get trapped up there too.
That's the other thing too, is I was well aware that while we're up there, and it has happened up there before, they'll get a landslide that'll destroy the road, and you basically, you're not getting through there for a month until they fix it. So, yeah, we took some calculated risks. and the power was out up there when we got up there.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
So we were trying to book in, and they couldn't book us into this little campground.
We were the only people
We were the only people there.
The campground.
We were the only people there. And basically, because we decided at that point that it wasn't safe to be staying out in the wilderness overnight, because we wouldn't have contact with the real world. We wouldn't be able to monitor the weather. We wouldn't be able to keep in touch with home and make sure that everything was okay up here. So we decided to stay in another campground that night, but use it as a base camp and go and do our filming. And we did a fantastic little hike though, didn't we?
Yeah, that day.
It was I wrote it. I didn't write it down. I typed it here. It's called the. Hang on.
That's with T.
Yeah. Talawala or Talawalai. I can't quite see that. I've got to zoom in. Where is it? Talawalal Circuit, I believe.
Right.
And it's this little hike that, well, it's not a little hike, it's a good size hike. And it links you up to this pocket of Antarctic beech trees at this little summit. So you keep walking and then you do this kind of spiral loop at the end, and you end up on this summit and in amongst these beech trees.
Yeah.
And I did a bit more research on that, Craig, and it said that patch of Antarctic beech trees is the northernmost patch in the whole of this country.
For those sort of trees.
For that sort of trees. Like, that's the most north they've ever found those trees is there. So that's pretty cool. Like, you can go there and get that close to them.
No,
and it's also, they're one of the remaining links with the ancient forest of Gondwana. So yeah, real quite fascinating that little pocket of beech trees is there.
There's a nice little spooky section, especially with the fog and the rain coming down.
And we just got there and realised we were at the summit, and it was this beautiful boulders covered in moss, and as Craig said, like almost I don't know, Lord of the Rings-esque kind of little pocket of low cloud cover, and
it was awesome.
It was cool. We did a bit of a scout around, and I thought that was a great hike, and one we'd never ever done. We've been in that area before, but we've gone past that turn off because we've been on a bigger hike, a multi-day hike. And
we had gone past it.
Yeah, another destination in mind.
But that's when it started to come down in buckets.
Boy, oh boy. There's a bit of footage that Craig took on his phone, and it's on Instagram already. And he's sort of filming as he's walking up the trail behind me. And if you have a look at it, as I did obviously when I edited it looks quite wet, the trail.
That's on the way there.
That's exactly what I was about to say. That's before it rained.
Yeah.
When it started actually raining, all of that turned into a flowing stream down the trail.
Yep.
And it was bucketing down, absolutely pouring. We were getting smashed. It was cool. Like, don't get me wrong. Some of these things, and I've said it many times in the podcast, it's an experience. And whilst it might not be the most pleasant, it is an experience.
Yeah.
And to be in a rainforest when it's raining that heavy is, a bit of an opportunity. I don't think we would have got that had we not persevered. So even just that hike, I feel like kind of paid off. The little risks that we were taking kind of paid off.
But I don't remember any time where I've done quite that experience of heavy rain in a rainforest and walking for over an hour or two. That was awesome.
Yeah. I'd agree. I don't believe
if you haven't tried it.
Yeah.
Go and do it.
Even if you don't go a long distance, you just go...
Get out in the rain.
Just go half a kilometre in the rainforest and sit somewhere and just be there.
It's awesome.
It's different. Yeah, it was... Yeah, as I said, pretty cool experience. I said to Craig, we'll never forget that. I'm just not going to forget that. It was so cool.
Despite what happened to me.
We'll get there. Oh boy, listeners.
Oh no.
You're just about to tune out, turn this episode off, think again. No, that was a cool hike. And then we, as Craig was saying before, we were setting up these microphones in the rain and everything's wet. Your hands are wet. The bag's wet. Inside the bag, like everything's wet. You can't
get dry.
When your hands are that saturated, you can't even dry them on something dry because they just feel, they're just clammy. And we're using all this expensive audio gear and cameras and just getting everything wet, trying to lean over our gear while we're doing it to mitigate direct rain. It was not fun, but
I remember there's one stage and you were trying to take a photo and it was the water was coming off the brim of your hat, just running
straight onto the lens,
like a waterfall onto the lens. And I'm going, oh man, this ain't good.
Yeah, you said, "Is your lens waterproof?" And I said, "No."
Oh well.
But like I said, at the time, I mean, you can't. Well, at least I feel like you can't sort of cotton wool your gear if you're buying it to go and get. Which, by the way, the photograph that I took,
of course,
was really good.
Oh, I don't think I've seen that one, but
I'm pretty happy with the shot that I got from
that. Was up on that little mossy section. Yeah, I remember.
That one's not posted yet, but there was the other one I got early on the trail.
Oh, I saw that. That was great.
Yeah. You're right. That wasn't when the rain was dripping on it, but yeah. My point being, you've got to, if you want to get those shots and that footage, you unfortunately going to have to deal with the consequences. And it's all good. I dried it off later, but we decided to have dinner in the little camp kitchen, which is when Craig came up to me and said something along the lines of, "Have I got something in my eye?" Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I was pretty sure I had a little thing in my eye.
Yeah, and I just feel like every single podcast is just you getting a leech on you.
another hike, another course of antibiotics.
Another leech. So Craig walks over to me, and I don't think we've had a conversation about it since then. I still commend myself secretly on how kind of stoic my response was.
You're pretty calm.
Because I knew that if I freaked out, it would freak you out. So I just kind of went like, he's got a little, what the heck? You just got a little leech in your eye, mate. It's all good. And Craig has this leech on his tear duct of his eye. And what we can kind of gather between the two of us, obviously he's the one that had it, was that we think that we spoke so extensively about salt in the last episode and how they cannot stand salt. I think that your eye must have watered, or it's got on that tear duct and
flicked off.
And then once it's got that salt from your eye, that's when it started to come off, and that's when you noticed it.
Yeah.
Was not when it was trying to get you, but rather you felt irritation, you were rubbing it, and then it got salt water on it.
Yeah.
And it was coming off, because by the time you walked over to me and said, and I said, oh yeah, it's just a leech, it just dropped straight to the ground. It was done.
It was done then.
And
because I think it had been there for a little while.
Yeah, it was very small, like it hadn't.
Okay.
It wasn't engorged or anything. It was very, very small. very skinny, very small.
Oh, good.
So I think it didn't take long. But I mean, not that made any difference to you. So,
No.
So we had our dinner. That was
Yeah.
pretty good. We had the leech in the eye, which is, I mean, I just
We saw a giant
I was
worm
through- we
about
saw
that stage.
Oh, that's pretty
Yeah.
much just up before or after was, and I was thinking, I'm glad the leech wasn't that big.
Yeah.
So we would have lost an eye. But I was kind of halfway through season 2 of Stranger Things. So seeing that black, like, slug come out of your eye, I was thinking, oh my gosh, I'm going to have nightmares about this. It's not cool. I
Well.
don't even know how you got it. Like, it must have got on your hair or your...
No, because I had that hat that I was wearing in the rain, and I'd put it down a couple of times while we were messing with the microphones, and I'm pretty sure
on the ground.
it would have jumped on the hat.
Oh, yeah. And then you've put it on your head, and it's...
I only got one other bite on my leg, and there weren't as many leeches as that previous trip we did when I got several bites.
Which was funny because it was nowhere near as wet. I almost felt like they had a more difficult time in that torrential rain of getting on you.
That's right.
Because they're just getting washed away, I guess.
So to get one in that...
So you got 2 that trip?
Yeah, I did get a bite on my leg.
Yeah, I got one.
Yeah.
Which I didn't know until I got home. When was that? The next day, after what we're talking about now.
Yeah, the next day.
I got home, dropped you home, and I think I must have got it when I was packing up the hammock in the morning.
Yeah, right.
Because the time I got home, and all my clothes were wet and dirty, I got home to get in the shower, and as I took my jeans off, on the back of my calf,
just the remainder there, the bite, yeah.
was some blood trickling down and a little bite.
Yeah.
And so I reckon, I obviously had it on me in the car or something. But I only got one.
Bloody leeches.
But, yeah. So this is where there's a cool little place there where you can kind of go indoors, and it's got a little reading kind of attic. And we sat in the warmth there. They had a fireplace, and I was wiping my camera gear down, and we were kind of drying off and recharging batteries, and just had a really good chat there, talking about a few things.
I felt a bit funny, like it did feel a little bit heavy, but it was okay.
Visibly, there was
no problem.
It didn't look like it just looked completely. I was, when I saw that little tiny leech fall off, I thought, man, that thing's only just
had a go.
It's hardly touched you, and it's touched some salt and dropped off. So
no problem.
I mean, it was not a concern whatsoever at that time. And through the night, it just started pouring down, didn't it?
The rain was just non-stop.
And that's when I'd wake up, like, as I said, 10 times through the night, and every time I woke up, it was just pouring. But thankfully, I had packed my hammock for if we did go hiking, and I managed to set it up instead of using my swag. So I was bone dry the second night.
Yeah, I was.
And I couldn't have been more grateful. So then your swag was, I guess, wet out.
Yeah, wet out at last, yeah.
And as soon as you started getting rain the second night, you just started getting leaks.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think a lot of it came in. Yeah, actually, through the window. I don't know. It was splashing. The water was just like splashing in, and more than I thought. I thought surely not, but I believe it was.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it was actually splashing in through the windows.
Yeah, mine was definitely coming in on the seams. You should have seen, like, if you're not familiar with canvas swags, or even the terminology of a swag, it's like a canvas tent that you roll up, and there's something called seasoning, which is the same as kind of when you prepare a camping pot or something, and you deliberately get it coated in oil or whatever. Well, not that you coat your swag in oil, but seasoning a swag is getting it soaking wet in the hot sun and letting the fabric shrink, and then getting it soaking wet again, and then letting the hot sun bake it and shrink the fabric.
Yeah.
and doing it again and again. And I did that one about 3 times.
Yeah.
But I didn't focus on the seams. I was just wetting all the canvas. And when I got home that week, man, I punished that swag.
Yeah, it was a good chance because
the sun came out and
yeah,
I was getting the hose on jet and forcing it into the seams, and I could see the water coming out the other side, and then I'd let it bake for like 4 hours in the sun, and then I'd go back and smash it again.
That's what it needs.
Now it's only half its length and I can't fit in it, but I'll tell you what, it's watertight.
Yes.
So let me tell you how I woke up on that last morning.
Oh yeah.
I woke up, first of all, I'll be honest, I haven't said this to you, but
And I haven't said sorry.
I woke up with a fright.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if you thought maybe because I was asleep or if it was raining and I couldn't hear you or something, but you must have, I don't know, it felt like you were about this far away that we are now, about 2 meters away. You've walked up and gone really quite loud. You're like, "Hey, Tom, you awake?" I've gone, holy heck, man, this is at what, 5 a.m. or something? And I've just almost exploded out of my hammock, scared the living bejesus out of me. That was the first thing. And then what did you say? Something like, "I think I've got a problem" or something? Or
yeah, I said, man, my eyes,
my eyes swelling
blown up. Yeah,
and
blown up.
And I'm thinking, okay, it might be just like getting a little bit, a bit of swelling like underneath or something. And but as soon as you woke me up, I knew it was going to be that leech. I just knew it as soon as I woke up. But a few seconds I collected myself and I knew what the next thing you were going to say was. It was one of two things. I thought you were waking me up to say, "Oh, dude, I've just looked on my phone and there's been a landslide and we can't get home."
Oh,
and that's what, because you kind of had this like panic tone. Or I was thinking, "Oh, no, he's got the leech bite." And sure enough, this was the second time in basically in 12 hours that again I was impressed with my my stoicness, because when I got out of the hammock and said, "All right, let me have a look at you," and he kind of turns around and looks at me like I could have easily gone, "Yeah!" Like, it was like the elephant man looking at me, and I remember just being like, "Stay calm, act cool," and like, "Yeah, you got a bit of swelling there. I mean, yeah, you get that thing hanging off the side of your face, a little bit of swelling." Honestly, he looked like he'd been elbowed in the face in a cage fight.
Yeah.
It was almost completely closed.
See, I didn't have a mirror, so
I'm so glad.
I had to take a photo of myself in my swag, a selfie
with one eye,
just to have a look, because I couldn't open it. I couldn't. It was scary because I all of a sudden realized there was something wrong.
So do you? Because we haven't had this conversation. That's what's great about this podcast. So talk me through what happened before you were yelling at me in my hammock. Did you wake up
5 minutes before I was waking up?
What, did you just wake up to go to the toilet or daybreak or?
No, I woke up. I was feeling fine, and then I've realised that
your eyes all heavy.
My eye was actually a bit, heavy and sore and a little bit itchy, and I just went. No. I went, "That's the eye that shouldn't be feeling like that." Oh no. And I felt it, and I felt
with
my hand. It was puffy.
Oh.
And then I took my phone out, turned it to like selfie mode.
Yeah.
And took a photo with flash because I couldn't. It was still dark.
Yeah. Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
And
then
looked at it
back with your,
and I went,
with your good eye.
Oh shit.
Oh my gosh, you did look like a mutant. Like it was not pretty at all.
I'm going to show you the photo, man.
Did you keep it? That's crazy. I don't think anyone wants to see it, but I do.
Because I didn't show you.
My goodness, it was significant, and oh my god, that's
a selfie.
Hideous. It's hideous. It's very a lot of it's in the the top of the eye, isn't it? The top lid.
Yeah, it was just the big top eyelid.
I didn't realise.
I was doing my Bear Grylls. Do you remember when he got bit by
all those bees?
Bees in the desert.
Yeah, you always have to one up Bear, don't you?
Oh, mate.
Yeah. Maybe if I stick a leech in my eye, I'll have a cool photo. Well, anyway,
yeah.
I just said to Craig,
nothing wrong with you, mate.
You're all good.
You're all good,
Shut
mate.
up and go back to sleep. No, I said, I'm going to get you some antihistamines straight away. So, yeah, I gave him a double dose, and it was really good, actually, because we got those into you straight away, and then we said, just let's pack up. It's time to get out of here. It's rained all night. We started getting worried about the ability to get home. So we ducked into town. Oh, no, we didn't duck straight into town. We tried to get home first.
Yeah, we couldn't.
We got down and there was no rock slides or anything. There was just a few. I mean, I wouldn't even say there was extra boulders than the day before.
No,
it was pretty much the same as when we drove up there. But then we started trying to head out towards the highway, which is down back roads through quite steep terrain, and that's when we got to this point where they'd blocked off the road. And my gut feel there was that was a rock slide, because if you the road's literally carved out of the side of a mountain.
Yeah.
And I reckon that's what that was.
Probably. Yeah.
So we did a U-turn. That was after about fair drive too.
Yeah.
So we did a U-turn there and drove back, and coincidentally the point of which where we would take another route was only a few minutes from town. So we ducked back into the town and grabbed a coffee.
Yeah.
Well, I grabbed it because I didn't want the old elephant man coming in with me.
Yeah, I couldn't be seen.
Lucky I've got tinted windows.
And
as
I
well.
knew you had some sunglasses if I had.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, we'll put these on even if you're going to talk to me. Yeah. So, and then I decided to fill up on fuel as well, because at this point we didn't know. Well, there was definitely roads blocked, overflowing with water.
Yeah.
So we didn't know how many detours we were going to have to take, and I didn't want to take any risks. So yeah, sure enough, there was, as we were driving, some of the spectacular sights we saw. Remember when we would drive along, and then the left-hand side of the road was just this raging time going through people's farms and curving around. That was fascinating.
It's insane.
I remember saying, I didn't even know there was a creek down there.
Yeah.
Previously.
So much water.
Insane. And there was another road that was off to the right, which was, as I was driving, I looked down this street, and down the bottom of the hill, I could just see a meter of water going over this bridge. I went, holy heck. And that's when we kind of thought, are we going to get home? But the route we took, we got all the way there. Oh, and that's what I wanted to say as well. By this stage, it was sort of an hour after I'd given you those antihistamines. Yeah. And your eye came right down, significantly smaller.
Yeah,
because really happy to see that.
To be honest, because I was really trying to open it, and it sort of gets a fold then, and it kind of was looking a lot better once I was able to open it.
Yeah, it looked heaps better. I remember because it was your left eye, and so...
No,
your right eye. Either way, I don't kind of look at you while I'm driving.
Yeah.
And I remember at one point saying, oh, how's your eye going? And you've looked over and I'm going, oh, wow, that's actually really good.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. That's going to get you through.
Yeah.
So that was lucky. And then we didn't have to do any detours, except I think I might have told you in a message, after I dropped you off, I had to do a detour on the highway going home. Because there was
on the highway.
It was flooded. Yeah,
the Caboolture.
No, like down at Aspley.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I couldn't even get onto the highway. I had to go around And then on the detour, one lane was shut from water as well. So that wasn't far from going under. Then I got up near my place, and I know that area pretty well. So I didn't go certain ways because I know there's places that go under real quick.
Yeah, right.
And then I got home, and then 2 hours later, the end of my street where I drove in went under. So it was
can I tell
timed
you
that well.
My Sunday afternoon. Can I tell you what
Was
happened?
that the same? Oh yeah, okay, yeah. Tell us that because we haven't spoken much about that.
Okay, so this was the pouring rain. This was the day where I live, it was just coming down so heavy and so fast. We actually recorded the most rainfall in a day that this part of Brisbane's ever seen. So they say that anyway, and it was flooded in through this studio here. So I had to
That's right.
pull everything that you see right now was out into the other room, and I had to be mopping the floors. So this is after you'd just gone.
Yeah, right.
And left me here. I had to mop this several times just to keep it from coming up, and it went out underneath the TV out there.
Through the wall.
Into
crazy.
The big room. So dramas, and by the end of the day, my eye was starting to throb. And it was looking, I was scaring the kids, like they were really worried, and
well, I saw it. It scared me. Anyone else to look at that?
And so I went to the hospital, and they, I had to wait a while, and there was, no one could get to the hospital because of the bloody rains and stuff. So it was crazy times. But they said definitely that's some sort of, they call it like a cellulitis or some sort of crazy infection of the eye, and I had to take antibiotics.
Unbelievable.
So yeah,
absolutely unbelievable. I was speaking to Josh about it we were just chatting, texting each other, and I said to him, because he said, "Oh, do you think that the leeches that bit Craig were kind of because it's rained so much and the water's dirty and everything? Do you think that might have been what affected him?" And I said, "No, I don't believe that's the case because I got bitten as well. On both trips, I got bitten as well.
Yeah,
no dramas. I think." And what he said the same thing as I was thinking it, is there's something that can happen when you get exposed too much to a certain toxin, and your body can build up such almost like an unhealthy fear of it, that when it happens, it freaks out and reacts as if it's something really bad. And we were both talking about, because I said, "Oh, yeah, that's interesting because remember that time you got flogged by like 100 leeches?"
Yeah.
It's kind of been since then that you've had the problem, right? There's a word for it.
Yeah.
Did any doctor say anything about it?
For me?
Yeah, like has any doctor given you any theory whatsoever? Like why do you get bitten on the foot now and it blows up, but years ago you got bitten 100 times and nothing happened?
Mate, I could have some condition where I'm, predisposed to blowing up from these bites. But, I had several bites that weekend and only one of them got seriously infected. And I think anyone who got bitten on the eye is likely to have a reaction. I don't think it's an allergy as much as I think it was just like you'd call it, like a bacterial sort of reaction. I don't think it's just me that would get that. But you might be right. You guys might say, that guy, he always blows up when he gets bitten by a leech.
I'm just trying to find... Yes, I was going to say the word anaphylactic, but I didn't want to say it without just checking if that's what he said.
I don't think so.
Yeah, because he was saying that he used to work with this girl. He works in the outdoor industry, forestry generation.
Yeah.
And those jumping ants, the ones that have smashed me before, like they're horrific.
Yeah.
Well, she works in forest regeneration as well. And when she first used to get bitten by those jumping ants, was not a problem at all. Like, it hurts and you deal with it and you work on. But from working so many years, she's been bitten again and again and again. And now she has to carry one of those EpiPens, because if she gets bitten by the same ant that 10 years ago would have just been sore, she now goes into anaphylactic shock. There is definitely a thing I've definitely read about where people can seemingly benign things, if it happens a lot, their body will create this problem that doesn't need to be there.
I would be open to that idea. I think I got fairly sensitive skin and stuff, and I can quite easily rash up if I'm working in the garden and stuff.
Yeah.
So it might just be.
But the thing I can't get past is there's two major pieces of what I would term scientific evidence. One is I get bitten on both trips that you have to get antibiotics and nothing happens to me.
Yeah.
And the other piece of evidence we have is you got bitten by 100 leeches and had 0 reactions.
At that stage.
How can you get 100 leeches a few years ago and have zero reactions, and then get one leech bite and just totally, and this is consecutively, what was that, within a month of each other?
Yeah.
The story, the way it's going to roll out is the next time you get a leech bite, what happens? Because there's absolutely no way that if it's a pure coincidence, like, why did it happen like that?
Yeah, I might have a prone to react to that now.
He did. Now, I don't want to go on about it in the podcast, but he did give me some information that he's picked up, because that's a great thing about Josh is he's worked so much in the outdoors where they get bitten by ticks and leeches and all sorts of stuff that they all have their
education on it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, right.
So he gave me the name of this stuff that I'll forward to you that he said would probably help keep them at bay, and you can actually wash your clothes in it. I think it's called Parenthian or something.
Oh, right. So it's like a repellent of sorts.
Yes. Yeah. And so you can put all your hiking clothes and socks and stuff in and do a wash in that before you go hiking.
Does it repel people as well?
Well, I mean, you're quite capable of doing that yourself. I don't think you actually need to wash your... I mean, if you don't wash your stuff, you're probably going to repel people.
Look, I've decided I've had a few chats with the family. I'm just not going to go outdoors anymore.
I mean, I was going to say that if you want... That's an absolute surefire way of never having this problem again.
That's what you're getting to,
stay
isn't it?
inside.
That's what you're getting at.
And just go to the show notes and just watch all the videos of other people doing outdoor stuff.
Other people just playing with leeches like it ain't no thing.
So to wrap up the podcast, this will be our last podcast because Craig's not going to have any more outdoor stories.
It's sad.
It's sad. That is actually the end of everything. No, not everything. Just this once.
Oh, good.
This one podcast.
Okay.
Thanks for everybody who has been there from the start. To get to 40 podcasts, I think is not any small feat. And it's been quite a few years we've been chipping away at this. And thanks. I mean, if you're still listening at the end of this marathon, wow, you deserve a medal.
Yep.
That's about all I've got to offer, Craig. Oh, I guess the moral of the story is we got home safely. We totally did a 180 degree on what we said in the other podcast, but I will say that we did calculate every decision. And, I mean, we were pretty adamant about that. We basically said every single water crossing we get to, we'll make a a group decision. If one person's not comfortable, we go home. I'm not taking any risks in the car. I'm not taking any risks on the trail. And we stuck by that, and we did all right.
We did all right, I reckon.
We did all right. We got some cool stories.
Had a great time.
We got some good footage. I saw a giant earthworm that I never would have seen.
That's right.
I saw your face and your eye that I never would have seen.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness. I don't want to see that again.
Not again.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Thanks for everything. Have an absolutely fantastic day, night, week, or whatever. Talk to you soon.
See you later.
See ya.
If you're listening to this podcast on iTunes, we'd really appreciate your ratings and comments if you can spare the time. If you'd like to know more about HikeordieTV and keep track of our adventures around Australia, make sure you drop by HikeordieTV.com. That's where you'll find all the information you'll need to follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram or Pinterest. As always, we appreciate your support. Thanks for listening.